The world of sports is filled with all kinds of unique rituals and superstitions. These can range from the outright weird ones like Detroit Red Wings fans throwing octopuses onto the ice to some more harmless ones like MLB players and other athletes not shaving their beards during playoff times. Often these rituals are just things to keep the fans involved, but sometimes athletes start believing in them so much that not executing the ritual is actually negatively influencing their performance. On the other hand, as a mental performance consultant, I work with athletes on teaching them how to use pre-performance routines, a defined and practiced set of actions and thoughts that aim to improve performance. This is a proven way that athletes can increase their motivation and attention and therefore increase their performance before doing things like a free throw in basketball or a serve in tennis. However, the line between superstitions and routines can sometimes be a little bit blurred, and this can lead to some less desirable outcomes. So in this episode of JWK Explains, I want to look into what is the exact difference between routines and superstitions. And I will do that through the king of tics, superstitions, and behavior routines, Rafael Nadal.
Love touching.
Rafael Nadal is a highly accomplished Spanish tennis player. He has won 17 Grand Slam single titles, of which 11 French Open titles. He's the former world number one, an Olympic gold medalist, and the youngest player ever to achieve a career Grand Slam, which is winning all 4 Grand Slam tournaments. His playing style is marked by his aggressive topspin forehand, his incredible athletic ability and unbreakable spirit. However, he is also known for his abundance of tics, routines, and superstitions. For instance, his 2 drink bottles need to have the exact same level of liquid in them, as well as face the same way. He cannot touch the lines when walking to and from the chairs in between games, and he always needs to enter the court with his right foot first. On top of that, before serving a ball, he pulls his pants, touches his nose, followed by his left ear, then his nose again and his right ear, before bouncing the balls 3 times, looking over to the other side of the court, and starting his serve. This all seems very compulsive, and in my personal opinion, some of it is, but definitely not everything. To get a better idea of what parts of his behavior are superstitions and what parts of his behavior are routines, we have to take a better look at what routines are and what make them effective. The goal of a performance routine is to prepare the athlete for what is about to come, both physically and mentally. Athletes are trying to gain and remain in control of the situation. By performing certain tasks in a certain order, they provide information to themselves about all kinds of processes that are going on right now. So for instance, if a tennis player bounces the ball on the floor a few times, it provides him or her with information about the bounciness of the floor, the condition of the ball, and how tired their muscles are right now. If the athlete uses some kind of breathing technique, it provides information about how anxious they're feeling in that current moment. All of these techniques combined in a routine help the athlete to calibrate their systems and therefore be able to execute their craft as consistently as possible. In order to achieve this, each routine should follow 2 important rules. First of all, a routine should be consistent, both in the order of the individual parts as well as the timing with which the routine is executed. For instance, take a look at the pre-shot routine of NBA player James Harden in 2 different matches, and note that he not only does the same thing, he also does it with the same timing. The second rule is that each individual component of the routine should either be a physiological or psychological technique that aims to control emotional, attentional, or physical processes. And this is exactly where a routine differs from a superstition. Although both are executed consistently, a superstition does not have any function in terms of providing information to the athlete. So it's not related to any of the performance outcomes of an athlete. With that in mind, let's take another look at the behavior Nadal displays during a match and see if they're most likely a routine or a superstition. First of all, every single thing he does is consistent. So in order to find the difference between routines and superstitions, we have to look at whether it provides him with any situation-specific information. If we start with the bottles, it is clear that there is nothing in that behavior that would provide any information regarding himself or the game, and this is therefore a superstition. The same applies for stepping onto the court with his right foot and not touching the lines in between points. However, when we look at the serving, it is slightly different. Although not all of his actions might seem valuable, they do allow him to take some time before serving to control his activation levels. Sometimes you see him do this even more after a big point. On top of that, he bounces the ball to provide information about his physical state, and he looks at the other side of the net to gain tactical information. So everything he does before a serve is actually to provide him with information about the current situation. And therefore, I believe that this is a routine. Hopefully, you understand a bit better what a routine is and what a superstition is now. But how can you start building effective pre-performance routines in your environment? The first step is to identify what physical and psychological state you need to be in to perform at your best. Now, this might be an easy question if you're a seasoned veteran and you have a lot of experience to draw from, but maybe you're not as experienced and you might need the help from a coach or a mental performance consultant. Once you've figured out what your optimal state is to perform, you can then come up with a routine consisting of physiological and psychological techniques that would recreate that state. Once you've done this, you go out and you practice your routine. You see if it works or if it needs some tinkering. After many reps of trying your routine, you'll have an effective routine that you can use to perform at your best. Thank you very much for watching. I hope you enjoyed the video and learned something more about how mental processes affect the athletes you see on TV. If you enjoyed watching this video, please leave a like and comment what you thought of the video. If you are interested in seeing more videos, check out my page and subscribe. Thank you very much and see you next time.